All right, we welcome to the show. It's Dana from VITRUVIA. How are you?
Good, good. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. We're so excited. The new EP is out, Broken World. Some amazing songs. I know you guys got some incredible merch out there and, finding those little pockets for shows as things open up. But tell us a little bit of background of the group. I know it's an evolution. You've been through a few members, but what's the common thread? What's the common goal, that makes Vitruvia work?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like you said, we've been around for a little bit and we've been through some members, but the lineup that we have now is really, I believe, what truly does make what the band is today. And, in the past, it was me. It was as the leader of the band. I'm the one making the calls. I'm the one doing this. I'm the one doing that. But the team we got now with the four-piece that we have, Tanner, Christian, myself, and Kevin, everybody's got their role. Everybody's doing their part. Everybody's chiming in. We all have the same mindset, the same focus, the same drive, goal. Truly couldn't ask for a better team within our new lineup.
Well, that's what it's all about. We sometimes use sports analogies, and in basketball, you got to put that starting five, out on the court. It doesn't matter who's new and who's a veteran or whatever. It's you gotta have your starting unit. Or in football, you got a few more players, but again, it still comes down to those power players, and it's so important to function like four fingers on a fist. You ball them up and everybody's in there together. That's a lot more impactful than a lot of loose fingers going four different directions.
Totally. And another analogy we like to use is, you have a four-cylinder engine, or even if you just go with the wheels on the car, you can't move a car with three wheels. You need all four wheels to go forward, and that's exactly what's happening. I mean, there's times where, like I said, as the leader of the band, I'm trying to do all these things, and now I kind of turn my head and I'm like, whoa, what just happened? This is getting done. That's getting done. Like, seriously, I couldn't ask for a better team. It's an amazing feeling to know that we have the right people now to really make things happen.
Well, that's exciting, and I know that's part of the evolution is really finding people that have a like-minded, work ethic. Everybody sees the potential, that everybody does what they do well. The power, of possibility is so much stronger. Bring us up to date. I know you had a previous EP out, but this is, a whole new level for the band. Broken World, from the graphics, the cover, the songs, the production. I know you guys are moving along your journey. Tell us about, the songs and how you put this together.
So, yeah, Broken World was definitely a different picture. I wouldn't say that we went away from our roots, but we definitely expanded within those roots, where we have the influence of a pop punk sound with a metalcore sound mixed with like an alternative rock sound. And we've always had that sound, but now we just kind of enhanced it. And the heavier songs are now heavier, or the alternative songs are more alternative, and kind of fit a little bit more in those categories. But one thing that we like to do is keep everything, we're very diverse. So being able to do that with the new EP and really expanding that, I think really opened up some doors to a different audience, a different ear, especially what the songs are about, as you asked, what this album is. And a lot of the songs really focus more on depression, which we believe is something that our world definitely lacks to want to talk about or assist in helping or wanting to make change for our individuals in the world. And it's just something that we like to talk about a lot, and we really did that with these songs a lot. I mean, the lyrics, I think, are another driving point for this EP. We definitely dug deep into personal thoughts, personal lives, the way we see our friends living, the way we're living, etc. I don't know. I just couldn't ask for a better team to have come up with what we did come up with, even outside of the group itself. But the producers that we picked for it definitely were able to kind of aim in that genre for us and be able to kind of guide us through the writing process too, especially with our single "Do Something." was really trying to focus on, fitting everybody, not just one person, but wanting, that song's more about wanting to make change in the world. And again, the title of the song, Do Something, and really trying to focus again on, not just one person, but everybody, and how we can make a difference in the world.
Well, I know Do Something is definitely an anthem for all times, but especially in these times, little did you know as you recorded it, it would be pretty much a call to arms for everyone to do their part, to help the elderly that are more susceptible, to this virus, for people in their community to reach out to the homeless, to, the poor who, are in more vulnerable circumstances, make tests available. I mean, there's so much we need to do, to pull people together. And, if we're going to get through this and survive as, a universe here, people have to get on the same page and do their part. We can't sit here and wait for the government. These states haven't been able to sit here and wait for the federal government. Everybody from the community to the county to the state, to our country, and then you look at a lot of these smaller countries, like New Zealand and amazing countries even in Europe that have really pulled together, and everybody did something, and their
Yeah.
death rate is extremely small, and they flatten the curve, and they're much closer to getting back to a normalcy.
Yeah.
So,
And then you
like
have
I
us.
say, it is an anthem for these times, but really all times. A lot of people are kind of lethargic, and they're waiting for their boss, or they're waiting for somebody else to do something for them. Hand them a job or an opportunity, and it's really from within that you have to reach.
Yeah, most definitely, and that exactly. And I was just gonna, as you were saying, I was just about to speak on that. It's a lot of people are waiting for the next call or the next action instead of trying to make that action. But obviously, hopefully, making when and the people that are diving in and making those actions, it's very important to make sure that we're making the positive action, instead of trying to go the negative route.
Yeah, so important. Now, tell us about the song "Starbound," which kicks off the EP.
Yeah, Starbound. That one definitely is personally our favorite in the band and as a whole. That song really dives in deep. As I said before, a lot of the songs talk about depression, but that's really another song on the album that really is talking about that depression and just wanting to let go of everything that's going on around us and just wanting to be a better person, because depression can really take over. It just can. It can take over our bodies and lead us into different negative thoughts, negative atmosphere, taking us down the wrong paths. And that's really what that song is about, is just wanting to let go of everything, and just kind of talks about how we're not far. We really are not far away from where we started, but we need to figure out a way to get back to that point in our lives where we were happy, where we were I wouldn't say stress free, because that's definitely not going to happen anymore in this world, but where we could be steady and focused and be able to help others as well. But yeah, definitely that song for us definitely hits home. Has a very strong intro, in our opinion, and also again, a lyrical content I feel is perfect for anybody that is struggling and needs some guidance. And it has a nice way of building in from the intro to the verse, where it's very calm, and then the chorus hits right away, real hard in your face, and just the song just has it just moves you. It definitely gives you a little bit of a ride as you're listening to that song. So definitely one of our favorites.
Yeah, one of the things we love about the band is you have, those hard and softer moments, the dirty and clean, and you guys, really bring it in songs like Before I Wake. Talk about that yin and the yang, the balance between the dark and the light, that give you that extra level of, passion and, emotion in the songs.
Yeah, most definitely. As you mentioned with Before I Wake, again, I know I might be repeating myself here, but that song is another one that's really deep about depression. And that one actually talks a little bit more about suicide and a little bit in the mix as well. as from our viewpoint to a friend and watching them struggle. But the song also talks about how we're struggling watching them struggle, and what's pretty much is going on there for our emotions to be able to bring in those dirty vocals, the heavy vocals. It just gives that aggression, and for us, it just really speaks those lyrics a heck of a lot more than it would just singing them, and it just means so much more of that, just the powerhouse behind it all, with the breakdowns, especially within that song. Definitely has a lot of movement. It just, I don't know, I don't know. That one just really does hit hard, especially emotionally when you're really listening to the lyrics on that one. Um, that's, I don't know. That one's one you just got to listen to understand what's going on.
Yeah, well, you can take the band's songs in a lot of different levels. You can just, take it on the face value of the sound and the power and the roller coaster that you take them on. But, the deeper you get into the lyrics and, what the band's trying to get across, there's just so many levels, to the groove. Another hard hitter, It's Not Over Now. What is that all about?
That one is definitely that one definitely is more along the lines of, again, more, it kind of focuses a little bit more on the suicide perspective, but that's more on from our view of ourselves, the struggles that we have gone through and just wanting to kind of give up on things. But really, again, like, you want to give up, your body wants to tell you to give up, your mind's telling you to give up, but deep down somewhere inside there's something that's saying, no, keep fighting, keep pulling through, because this isn't going to take my life, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or a week from now, or you might be struggling right now in this moment, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be struggling tomorrow, 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now. You don't know what's positive going to come around, and that's what it's really about. It's about fighting and staying very faithful to yourself as an individual, just knowing that when things go up, they come down, but when they come down, they must come back up. And that's just, again, life is a roller coaster, and that's, you just really got to dig deep within yourself. And I really think anybody that is struggling really deeply with themselves, with wanting to commit suicide, or that is depressed, can really listen to that one and understand and grasp what is, that they're not alone, that that they have someone that's with them, and that they have a connection somewhere in the world, that, wow, I'm not the only one feeling this way. And and that's another one where it definitely does hit Hoff really, really hard. I mean, it's the heaviest song on the album. And for people that understand tuning, it's in drop A flat. And so it's really, really, especially we don't play 7 strings, we're on 6 strings, so it makes it even a little bit more challenging. But I mean, we made it happen. And but then the chorus has like this very pretty sounding chorus with still some heavy instrumentals with that low tuning. And then again, we go further into the song where it gets a breakdown, and then we have almost like, I forget what you call that, but it's like this old school chant going on in the background at one point in the song, just kind of really giving this huge atmospheric sound. And in the very end, we hit back with a ridiculous beat down breakdown, but it just flows very, very well. But again, the most important part is just knowing that someone's not alone, and that there are people out there that are going through the exact same thing you are, if not, maybe not as bad, but then there's also times where it could be even worse. So
Yeah, there's always a brighter side, always, a better light, at the end of the tunnel. You gotta, persevere. A lot of people, need that support, around them. Talk a little bit about the producer team that you found to work on this, and also the song "Peace of Mind." How did the working process go? Were the songs all written prior? Was there some collaboration in the studio with the producers? What did they, participate in?
yeah, so for the most part, everything that we went into, we already had. Let me take that back. We have 5 songs on this EP. We went in with 4 songs completely wrote, that or yeah, sorry, 4 songs that we completely did on our own, that we went into and showed them and said, hey, listen, these are some songs. Technically, we had more than that. We had enough to do an album, but finances weren't there to do the whole album. So we took a bunch of songs in and said, here's what we have. What can we do? Which ones would blend well together on an EP? So we did have their help as far as that goes, so that we can kind of get a good mix of our diversity. And then that fifth song was more focused around Do Something and really wanting to own in on writing something that really was going to mean, like you said earlier, an anthem song, something that's going to do for everyone. And which was definitely a new writing process for us, but it was definitely a task that we wanted to take on. And they definitely kind of helped us as far as the song structure goes. Lyrically, we did everything. Melodies, we did everything. They definitely kind of helped with the instrumental writing on that. But the rest of the songs truly was all us. All the writing was there. They maybe had a little bit of some tweaking that they were like, hey, what do you think about doing this instead? And most of the time they did that. We're like, yo, that actually sounded sick. Yeah, let's keep that. Let's do that. And we ran with it. But seriously, I mean, eventually one time in life, we would really like to try to, I think people might like this, but we wrote everything on this program called Guitar Pro. And I would love to be able to push those out one day to kind of hear where the song started and where it ended with the EP. And you would see it's really not much different. It was just a matter of just small tweaks on the instruments.
Hmm. Well, I know you guys really bring it live. The energy of the live show for Vitruvia is so important, and you like to communicate, with the lovers of your music. When you write the songs, are you thinking about how to perform these live, making sure that the songs you select will also be good for the stage?
Yes, that is definitely one of our, I always say it, it's one of our biggest driving points. We definitely do focus on that with the writing process. When we do take the songs, I mean, we plan it all out so that if we're having even if it's just like a showcase show of 15 minutes all the way up to an hour set, we have enough songs that we can place around in that set that really owns home to, giving you that roller coaster ride, not just through one song, but a whole set. And we definitely work very, very hard on our live performance. I always say if you don't like our music, you'll definitely love coming out and seeing a show. We don't stand still. There's 3 vocalists in the band, and me being one of them. And, we don't just stay at our spot where most bands do. I might be singing from the left of the stage one moment, the next I'm over at the right side of the stage, next I'm in the center. Also, I'm in the back doing cymbal chokes on our drummer's kit instead of him doing it. Like, we also interact very, very well on stage together. It's almost as if, I mean, you're coming to see a show, you're going to get a show. You're not just getting a live performance as far as music goes. You're gonna have fun, and that's what we really strive for. And like you said, as far as the writing process goes, we definitely put that into consideration when we're writing. Like, you know what, we need something that's gonna get the crowd off their feet, or we need something that's gonna, we don't want them to clap at the end of that song. So now we need something that's sad and emotional, and we'll do that. We'll put those kind of songs in our set list.
Well, I know these days it's really a combination of, that pure human passion and emotion and technology, and blending those so they're seamless. And seeing you guys out here in California for the NAMM show, I know you guys are gearheads. You take your sound and your tech seriously. If there's
Yeah.
any companies you want to shout out or let people know some of the gear that you use, how they enable you to be able to present a seamless, human type show that doesn't feel like, it's a lot of computers and, robots playing.
Yeah, right off the bat, Phoenix Pro Audio is definitely a company we want to shout out. They fully supported us, and because of them, we were able to make our whole front of house / in-ear monitoring system, where we don't even need cabinets anymore. We literally can just take one rack up on stage, literally hit power, and we're rocking and rolling. So that's one of the first companies I would like to say thank you to for even making our live performance even just that much better. We don't need a sound guy to really run sound much anymore once we get everything dialed in, again, because of them. But another company that we would like to shout out to, we don't have any partners with them, but hopefully one day in life we will, is Line 6. Everybody, guitarist wise, is using Line 6. We're using Line 6 wirelesses for the guitars, and we're all using a Pod HD Pro, either the Pro X or just the HD Pro. But those are all in our rack system, and those things are absolutely incredible underneath the Line 6 Helix, which eventually one day we'll probably upgrade to those. But right now the pod HDs are perfect for what we need. Um, it saves all our settings right on board, and again, just it makes it so much easier to kind of go up. It has cab simulators in it, so that's why we don't even need cabs anymore. If we don't want to use them, if we need to use them, we can, we don't need to. It's not needed. If we were to fly, we can put everything. Like I said, everything's in one rack. We'll take it, one thing plus our guitars. We're ready, set, go. Good on the stage. Hit power or plug in, hit power. Done. That's all we need. And then another company we'd like to shout out again. We don't have any connection with them, but is Yamaha. I mean, they're one of the biggest music industry pros out there, and they came out with this awesome mic called the Yamaha EAD10. It's a drum mic, and all it does, it sits right on the kick drum, and it literally sounds like you're miking your whole kit. And all it is two mics in there, and it has a module that goes with it that you can send to front of house, left and right. And we did it on our last show 2 weeks ago just to kind of see how it would go, and it did. It sounded like the drums were mic'd completely up, and all it was 2 cents to front of house. So definitely love our new setup, the way we're going. Definitely some awesome companies to shout out to. And then some smaller companies like In-Tune Guitar Picks. That's a smaller endorsement that we have. Definitely some awesome picks. They got different feels, different gauges, not gauges, thicknesses. You can put your own logos on them and stuff. And even if you're not endorsed, you can still get some things from them. And then SIT Strings is another small endorsement that we have. Absolutely love those strings. I personally, not even just because we're endorsed by them, but they were a company I was focused on attacking after I started really getting into gear and becoming a gearhead. Just be like, these strings are what we need. They seem spot on every time you get a pack. It doesn't feel like there's mismatched gauges within the strings and so forth. So definitely a shout out to them. But because of In-Tune Guitar Picks, or with In-Tune Guitar Picks and SIT Strings, it's definitely a big plus for WB Gear, because they're the ones that actually got us set up with all those companies, which was incredible. So thanks to WB Gear to get us all those, get all that situated.
Well, I know how the band is evolving. I'm sure it's just a matter of time before Line 6 gets on board. They need to shout out to VITRUVIA, and eventually, get the Yamaha, conglomerate behind you. But why is it important, for artists these days to be at those trade shows and conferences, like what we do at the NAMM show and the Indie Summit in LA, and, the, Muse Expo or the Muse Biz out there and, different places? Why is it important to keep growing your knowledge and connections?
The question, I guess the more question is, why wouldn't you go to these things? Not even just for the connections, but then, like you said, the knowledge that you can get to learn from. If you're someone that's shy, that doesn't want to build a connection or network with people, you can learn so much from these music conferences. And like you said, we were at NAMM, and just incredible. Even just seeing the different gear that is there. If you are a gearhead, you kind of get to see what's going on, what's happening, so that you can get to pick and choose what sound you're going to want. But with the people you do get to meet and network with, it's very important to grow with your network. And if you are someone that is shy, I encourage you to find a way to get that out of yourself, or find a bandmate that, if you're in a band, find a bandmate that's really good with that, and send them out there, because that's how we got to build the connections we have. If it wasn't for networking, if it wasn't for showing our support and thanks to companies that don't even know who we are because we use their stuff. A good example was ESP LTD guitars. Again, that's the kind of guitars we use, but no, we don't have an affiliation with them. But we met them at NAMM, and we went up, we gave them a press kit. The first thing that they said to us was, and we also gave the one person a shot glass with our logo on. And the first thing they said to us was, more bands need to do what you just did. And we're nobodies. There's huge bands that walk around at NAMM that have huge, better following than we do. And that was, again, the first thing they said was, more bands need to do what you're doing. So when you have someone that is in the band, or if you can get that courage to go out and do it and just put yourself out there, even if you think it's something that's not that great, someone else isn't going to look at it like that. They're going to sit there and see that you're trying and that you want this more than somebody else. So therefore, they're going to look at you and say, yes, you deserve this, and let's partner. Let's grow together. And that's very, very important.
Absolutely. Here's our Vitruvia shot glass right here.
Oh, that's
This is
right.
right on our desk every day. No, you guys are amazing at what you do. Obviously, the blending of this knowledge. I always say you can never have enough knowledge, connections, and momentum. Every day should be an insatiable appetite of trying to build that, especially these days, with YouTube and social media. There's just so much knowledge out there from people that have been doing this longer than anyone you might know. And the knowledge is so accessible, and you can stop and repeat and go back and listen again. It's just, there's no excuse for people to have excuses. Well, I don't know
Yeah, yeah,
anybody. I couldn't learn from anybody. No, the knowledge is out there. And, even in challenging times like this pandemic, you can really, do a lot of networking online until we're able to press the flash and be, in front of everyone again. But yeah, no, you guys exemplify, what we like to see in an artist. And that's really the commitment to grow every step along the way. Because a lot of people think it's just, well, we just gonna write that one smash song and then we're gonna coast, No, it's the content, it's the team, it's the technology, it's the merchandising, it's your social media, it's, that interplay, with the people that do love your music. And that speaks
exactly.
to these companies, while, some of these companies are stepping up, more will step up as they see you guys are a powerhouse and really, a fountain of exposure, for other serious artists and creatives that want to follow in your footsteps. In closing, what advice do you give to the young creatives coming up today? Because there's a tendency that, you know, the younger people that grew up with computers in their hands and an app for this and a game for that, to always think that there's a shortcut. And those of us that have come up, and including yourselves, to realize nothing great ever comes easy, and anything that really lasts took some time to build and has that foundational quality, for, perseverance.
Yeah, I mean, definitely some good advice. I would like to think, especially being with the age group of when technology started to come. When we first started, technology wasn't really there. Like it was there, but like it was MySpace, and not many people were really networking crazily through the internet at that point. And then as we evolved, it got to that point where it was like the internet became the best thing to us. So definitely don't be afraid to use the tools that are there and do your research, but the biggest thing is staying focused. It's very easy to get off track, especially with how much there is on the internet, but really definitely own in on yourself. Stay focused, really dive in, don't give up. Just because one person says no doesn't mean the next person is going to say no. You're going to get a lot of, what people would say, hey, you're going to get that. Now, you can't please everybody in the world, and that's something we have to all learn to deal with, especially as artists, because we think our stuff is masterpiece, and then when one person tells us it's not, it does kill us. I mean, including myself. But just staying focused and just really owning in on everything, and as we talked about networking, definitely don't be afraid to network, because it's really where it's at. A good example, we're not a huge band. We're definitely not a huge band by any means, but we definitely did build a solid following around our area. But we got to network with a band called The War Within, and we're doing a cover song with them right now, which we can't wait for that to be done. But they have a huge following. But because of us staying driven and just showing that we are doing the best we can, it pulled them in and they wanted to work with us. And that was an awesome thing to happen, where we could have went to them and said, hey, let's do something. No, they came to us and said, yo, let's work on something together. And now we are. And I can't wait for that to happen. So yeah, just stay focused, drive in, don't give up. We've been doing this for a couple of years now, and like I said, we're not by any means huge, but don't give up, because it takes time, and it will happen.
Well, I know as they've helped mentor you in that regard, you turn and help others and mentor them. It's important to have that chain, and we're so proud of you, and we're going to chart your progress. Our guest has been Dana. The group is Vitruvia, and the website vitruviamusic.com has all the social links, everything you need to get their music, Spotify, Apple, all the great places, Amazon. You guys are distributed by the biggest and the best with Sony and Orchard and Alliance Corporation. Hats off to you. Dana, thanks so much for joining us. I look forward to our next call.
Yes, thank you, Jay. Have a good night.